Yes, dogs. Okay, for all the dogs, right? For all of them. You dig? Like, there's something that, they've been showing us that we ain't been really paying attention to, because of course, why would we? Like, whose mind is on that type of who's thinking to those extremes? You see him walking around with dog mask on, innocently you say to yourself, you know what? This is for that album that he was talking about with the dogs and shit. He's just being real, he's just really into his promotions. Like, he's really going hard. No. Further research has pulled up all type of receipts that he was on some dog shit way before that album, bro. He was playing with this dog motif for a very long time. So, it's not a far-fetched idea to say that this man has a dog fetish, right? And then he's tapped into some type of real deep, sinister shit. You know what I mean? The whole dog thing that he's into, when you study Sevan Bomar and he talks about the jackal-headed god, this will make perfect sense. You know what I mean? The jackal-headed god, this is the god that they praise behind the dog. You don't know about this. You don't know about the jackal-headed god.
If you really understand how to do it, that's what's going on, right? But we can at least connect all of that. It's like, okay, so why would that be happening, and where am I going? But we also have to have the bravery to go through the deep, and I think that that's often missed, and that's why a lot of people, they're into the good and they want to do the good, and they have no ground because they don't know anything about the deep, and they can't get past the first layer because the jackal got all of that sewed up. So you're just going to run into hordes of demons until you realize that they're you. Until you realize that they don't, technically all of that is encased within inside of you. So it's like that moment where, you realize Darth Vader is your father and you move on, or that moment where you realize you smack the cowardly lion. That was the point. You see what I mean? That was the point. Remember when Shorty smacked the lion, like he came out in the Wizard of Oz? Yeah. Because in the Wizard of Oz, they're trying to show you the crown of the Magi, right? They got the lion, then they got the crow, who's the bird, right? So then when she smacked the lion, he's a cowardly lion. That's the only time that you figure that out, though, right? So continuing in on this, though, like, because when you see the jack, then you kind of understand also this whole thing, even again with the games and Trump and and even Elon Musk, because at the end of the day, a jack is an X, right? Like the old game of jacks. You got the ball, and then you throw the ball up, you grab the jacks, and the jacks drop, right? But if you look at a jack, it's an X, it's a 10, right? And then if you look at even right below the crown here, or excuse me, above it, you see the symbol of the Union Jack is this equilateral cross, as they call it, right? Which is an X when you pull it off its axes. So when you see Marduk, who's Elon Musk, right? So all Marduk, Marduk is from the Habsburg, right? Or they're the ones, and I have pictures where they got the long ass chin and then the lips that butter out like this, like Buddy did when he smoked the weed with Joe Rogan. And go like this. And if you look at the profile, this is how you can, because there's other men that are walking the planet that also have that same profile, right? Because this is how you profile them. Remember, they're all working with certain entities. So the entity will take over the form. Peep this out. Let's take a moment. In the first degrees initiation of Freemasonry, the person actually lowers all of their spiritual shields. They literally get blindfolded and go into a room with a bunch of people that they don't know. You don't know where these people are from. You start seeing people potentially that you may have known, like your college professor and all these kind of shits, right? And they're the ones kind of encouraging you. Just peep out kind of what happens, right? So they're kind of encouraging the person. Yeah, hey, oh my goodness, oh man, this is it, right? And they say, okay, yeah, go ahead and say all these words and do this, put this blindfold on. Okay, now we're gonna put this knife to your back. I'm gonna tell you from that point on, when the person walks out, they're not the same person anymore. What has happened is they've put a rider on them. They put literally an entity on that person, and the entity controls that person from there on because they let it. They did it. It's like you literally drop all of your spiritual everything in what you said. You see what I mean? And then you expect nothing to happen, right? So that's just, again, a word to the wise that, you know, I don't care how convinced you may think that they know the truth. It's proof that they don't. If you talk to even people that are in there, they're not even really above what the Christians know technically. But I'm just saying, again, there's something spiritual going on, though. Peep it out. And it's just like a sorority, like a haze, like a fraternity. When you come in, you start on the bottom. So you have all the way to the netherworld sitting on top, all the way to their pyramid sitting on top of you. And you start there. And then when you start seeing the abuse they put on you, the main thing you're looking to get is a little bit like one level up so you can start abusing the people that are below you. And that's how their entire system works, because that's how the military works. Because this Jackal is a war god. It's a warrior god. Like, this is why it appeals to men like grab the blicky and, you know, go run them down and gun them down. The only way you're going to fight evil is with love. You can't fight evil with evil, right? Like, you can only kill evil with love, right? But they have a vigilant idea. They're going to go and choke it out, right? They don't sit down. They don't meditate. They don't eat the right stuff. They don't communicate. They don't talk. They never take substances. They don't never open the third eye, never been out of the body. This is your spiritual leader, right? Reading a book doesn't talk about diet, actually is so conflictive and confusing. It conflicts and confuses itself several times, and this is your book, and this is what you believe in, and you've taken that, and you are now committed. Now look, you got people that they're so committed, they can't see a way out. They think you're wrong about all of this. You see what I mean? But so that should let you see how deep this gets, though. It should let you see that it can bind people so much that they can't get out of it. They feel guilty when they get out. They can't stop saying this. I just want you to make sure you understand that this is not just like a playing game thing. You playing, but they need souls. That's how it works in the netherworld and in those regions. Every money there is dollars, souls, daughters. Okay, but we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So what we want to read here is we're looking at, so the earliest predecessor of the knave, which is second under the deputy in the Mamluk card deck. This was the lowest of the three court cards, and like all court cards was depicted through abstract art or calligraphy, right? Because they're telling a story here, and the story they're going to explain to you is how the jack ended up becoming higher than the king and the queen, because it took their entire system. It hijacked their entire system. It supplanted and stole the birthright. Starting with first the slip up between spreading the lineage in with, let's say you have Sheba and then you have Solomon, right? And then from their unity comes Menelik. And Menelik is jaded. He's MLK. He's Moloch. He's Malek. He's the messenger angel. He's the one that appears to men like Jabril and talks to them about secrets and knowledge and mysteries and all this kind of stuff. But that is also the Jackal in his other, in his sneak up on you. Let me talk to you like this. Like, he sneaks up on all men. He sneaks up on all kings, imbuing them with pride and all this stuff so that they could go and walk this walk into the army of destruction, right? So watch how it works. So it says here that in France, where the card was called the valet, right? The queen was inserted between the king and the knight. The king was subsequently dropped out of the non-tarot decks, leaving the valet directly under the king or the queen. You see what I mean? So the Jackal usurped the king, and now it's just the queen and the Jackal. The king, queen, valet format then made its way into England. They're telling you the whole story right there, but you're thinking it's a game. As early as the mid-16th century, that's a long time ago, we're in the 21st century. Known in England as the knave was originally meant a boy, a young man. as in the German equivalent, the knave still does. In the context of the royal household, it meant a male. Excuse me, I thought I had that on the screen. There we go. It meant a male there it is. In this context of the royal household, it meant a male servant without a specific role or skill. Not a cook, a gardener or coachman, etc. The French word valet means the same thing. A knave became the derogatory word because royal household had so many of these young men who went swaggering around the streets, picking fights, molesting girls, and generally making nuisances of themselves. It evolved to mean young manservant or henchman. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is Jack, who's a dog, who's the jackal, which is a specific kind of energy, actually is flowing through the entire reality at this stage. And its energetics or vibe is like young men who are constantly fighting, always at war, abusing women, and generally nuisances. Who's seeming to be doing that more? I guess a lot of men. You know, it's not a racial thing, but it is getting a little telltale. So the word jack was in common usage in the 16th and 17th centuries to mean any generic man or fellow, as in the jack of all trades, one who is as good at many things, the jack in a box, which I was talking about on my last episode, a child's toy, right? Because he sits in the box or on the square, right? And the square is the physical, let's say the hard reality, like the foundational reality, that's called the square, versus the ocean is not the square, clearly, right? So this jack is, you know, all around the cobbler's bench, the monkey shakes the weasel, pop goes the weasel, right? And it's just like, it surprises everybody, right? So surprise, the word jack was in common usage. Okay, so we got that. The term became more entrenched, and we're done here. Watch this. The term became more entrenched in the card play when in 1864, an American card maker named Samuel.
You don't know about Cain, you know what I'm saying? But throughout history, you talking about Ball. You're dealing with Ball, all of the dogs. You feel me? You're dealing with Marduk and all. You're dealing with Ball, not Baal. You feel me? And he has the owl. He got the owl and whatnot for the OVO. So that's that Bohemian Grove type of energy that he tapping into.
Like EXO.
So these are the people that turn them out, right? These are the people that turn them out. These are the executives. This is where all of these quote unquote wicked ways that these artists are tapping into. These are the people who turned them out. These are their big homies. They are following in the ways they've been introduced. You know what I mean? Yeah, Molech. They've been introduced to these quote unquote wicked ways by wicked men with power and money, right? And these artists are usually poor, coming from the hood and the ghetto. They don't have anything. So like Meek Mill got around Mike Rubin and started bunny hopping and doing weird shit and whatnot. The same way Little Baby got around money and whatnot, and he started acting fugazi and funny style and whatnot, let them people water him down and whatnot. That's the same way that happened when Puff got around Clive. The same way that Whitney she got around Clive. Jay-Z and them when they got around Harvey. You feel me? The Clintons when they got around, well, they've been evil. But other people when they got around Jeff Epstein, all of these people is wicked, bro. Wicked. And they come from the same Tribington. You dig? It's not no coincidence. You need to wake the fuck up, stop playing yourself and aligning yourself with these people, or you gonna be a op. It ain't no more, we gotta get you out of that. No, nigga, stay right there. You get headshots. You talking about you gonna get done dirtier than they get dirty. How about that? They gonna do you dirtier. Cause you should have known better, Russell. You feel me? Now, this little freak right here, he's out there in Bali and shit hiding out because he wanted to follow his freaky ass masters and whatnot. And he wasn't, you know what I mean? And now he's paying a price where his whole empire has fallen. He has nothing. And then the most precious part is, of course, your blood, your family, and whatnot, and that's compromised. So, was it even worth it at the end of the day? But these three people right here, these were the ones who destroyed New York hip hop. I don't give a fuck how many classics they might have put out or what they was behind. They stopped consciousness in hip hop. They stopped black men from calling themselves God and whatnot. These are the cocksuckers who felt the way about that. You feel me? These are the cocksuckers. These are the moist individuals who felt the way about black men asserting their godhood and their presence around them. They made them nervous, right? This is how they look when they were younger. You dig? This is how they look when they were younger, right? So the younger Sephardic Jews and whatnot, they usually get mistaken for our allies. Oh, they got afros, they got curly hair, they're like us. No, they not. They not like us. They not like us. Stop the bullshit. They are not like us. They never will be like us. They never was like us. You know what I mean? And if you run around acting like that and talking like that, then you're gonna get a reality check, bro. Stop bringing these people around. For real, for real. Stop with your broke ass. Stop bringing these people around to take care of you like you some fucking invalid persons. You know what I mean? Like you niggas need help. Stop it. Cause these people don't mean no good. They come dangling their little checkbooks. You niggas act like plots. Cut it out. They bring nothing but destruction in their wakes and whatnot. They bring nothing but destruction in their wakes. These are wicked people, bro. Look at Shorty Eyes, the second one, the one with Taylor Swift. She already dead. You know what I'm talking about? She already gone. She probably had the spiked drink and whatnot, but she's done, right? So these are some people that if they show you their fangs when nobody is looking, if they're able to get you behind closed doors and you see the monster come out, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You never should, but you see your aura, your spider senses was going off and you ignored that shit. Look at these motherfuckers. But then look at them when it's really going down. This the beast, this the level of beast that you're dealing with. They used him as inspiration for Lord of the Rings. That was the orcs, them niggas that was made out of the mud. They use his character as inspiration because they say he's the real bully in Hollywood. Fuck that fake shit. He's the real bully. He's the real demon time. He's a real monster. He really be eating people alive. He really be putting on the worst type of motherfucking disgusting type of behavior to women and men alike. They've been seducing our people for too long. Snap out of it. We just a bunch of whores if we continue to let these people string us on leashes and whatnot. I'm getting tired of it, bro. This is a vicious cycle. I'm getting tired of it. Motherfuckers that block everybody out, but the one person that got their hand up your back and whatnot, the one person got their hand in your pocket, the one group of people that got your niggas wrapped around their finger, they pinky finger by the way. You know what I mean? Got niggas wrapped around their pinky finger. And y'all want to go Black Lives Matter and all. No, nigga. Until you get this Jew off of your motherfucking lap, until you get this motherfucker off of your tail, y'all niggas are y'all slaves. You can't talk to us. You can't sit with us, bro. You can't sit with us. Y'all brought these people around and they've destroyed us. They've leashed off of us. They killing off they knocked off Aretha. They knocked off Bill Cosby. Not Cosby. They knocked off Michael Jackson and Prince. They knocked off Sam Cooke. Mobsters, gay mobsters, by the way, fruity mobsters. They call it the gay mafia. Turning these men and these women out. And look at Clarence Sevan, the Black Godfather. He was one of them. Look at him. He was one of them. He was a fish. Look at him. All of these people destroying good talent, good people, putting our people on drugs and whatnot. These people belong to something completely different. When somebody be like, how could this even be? How could they be into this stuff? Shit, you be surprised. You be surprised. You gotta do your research though. This goes all the way back. This shit is not coming out of it's not unfounded. We know where it's coming from. We know who they wrote the books. They got the books out. They got the research. You can find these people. Aliester Crowley. Okay, you can find these people. This is what they're following in Hollywood when they talk about sex, magic, orgies, and all of this crazy shit. Kenneth Grant, Bobby Hemmett talked a lot about his books and whatnot. Brother Panic. Okay. He came up with something called a Typhonian order. So the way that the Typhonian magic works, it works the Typhonian and Temple of Set, or what they call the Tunnels of Set. Typhonian magic, it works opposite of what they would call Yoni magic. Typhonian magic works opposite of that. They were the ones who introduced, well, really, Aliester Crowley. He was the one who brought all type of counter culture sexual practices. That's a good way of saying it. I don't want to be grotesque and I don't want to be vile on this show. I met some wonderful elders this strong in, and I have to be mindful of being too brash in what I'm saying, because I sometimes I'll be want to go off. But let's just say that a lot of homosexual sex, it is part of what they call the Typhonian order, and it's a magic, it's a sex magic practice that was introduced through Crowley and them. Not to say that it did not exist before that, but a lot of the sodomy and the things that you're seeing and whatnot, the drinking of seminal fluids and whatnot, the period sex and all of that stuff, all of these things, the ghetto gagging type shit, you know what I mean? What they call gonzo sex, a lot of that was brought through Aliester Crowley and these chaos magic sex cults. Do your research. The sacred orgies of the Sabian sects of Jacobs. So this is a part of Judaism that's on the dark side. That's on what they call the left-hand path. This is the satanic, sadistic part of the Judaism that they try to hide and whatnot. This is pedophilia. This is sodomy. This is all. That's this right here. And that's the shit that the Weinsteins and the Epsteins and all of these people, our people, get introduced to. And then they find out about their kinks, and they find out about all of their fetishes, and they find out about all of the disgusting things that they do behind doors when they get behind doors. Okay? When they get behind doors, when they get invited to the parties, when they go to these events and whatnot, they get to see the fangs come out of these people who they thought just was innocent people that liked a little bit of neck here and there. No, these are some weird motherfuckers. They into some whole nother shit. I would say that whole goddamn region in the Middle East, the Arabs included, things that they in Dubai doing, all of them is sick. Straight like that. They all sick. You dig? They all sick. So when you do the research on the Sabbatian sect, the Sabbatian or the Sabbatian of the Jacobs, okay, and the Frankists. So Jacob Frank is the one that you go and research. Jacob Frank, all right, going all the way back to the 1700s. Jacob Frank and them, they are the ones who broke off in this whole, and they created a cult. They created a sex cult. They created a ritual cult and whatnot. Let me read something about him. Frank addressed his followers. He said, "I came not to elevate your spirits, but to humiliate you to the bottom of the abyss where you could get and where no man can rise from by his own forces, but only God can pull him with his mighty hand from the depth." By abyss, he meant particularly sexual rituals that included sacred orgies with just a touch of incest. The sexual adventures reached the ears of the senior rabbis of Poland. After the Frankists held a rough sexual ceremony described by David Kahana in his Book of Darkness. See, the rough sexual, every women is like, I want it rough, I like it rough. Yeah, you don't know where that shit comes from. Like, that's not what them niggas in Africa is not, they not in Africa sticking their fucking hand down the throat of women. They're not in Africa putting their boot on the neck of a woman while they wear her out and whatnot. That's coming from rapists. That's rape culture. That's coming from Romans. That's Romanistic. They not doing sodomy in Africa, my nigga. That's coming out of Rome. That's Jewish. You feel me? That's what they do. You got that from them because they built the porn industry, and that's how you learn how to screw. You feel me? Through Hollywood and through their eyes. So whatever their fetishes are, whatever their proclivities are, you adapted that because you became what you despise the most. That's how they got you. That's how they locked you in. They made you wicked like them. They made you sick like them. They made you weird like them. Don't judge me. I'm just delivering a message because I see it. Okay? So they snitched on them to the rabbi. And on the 26th day of the month of Shavat in 1756, on a market day in the town of Lanskran, Podolia, the people of the Frank sect gathered in the morning in an inn of one of their own. They closed all the windows in secrecy, and they took the rabbi's wife, a beautiful and promiscuous woman, and they sat her down naked in a palanquin. They placed a Torah crown upon her head and danced around her, playing instruments, falling on her, and kissing her while calling her mezuzah. During the 18th century, other small Sabbatian groups were founded by the dozens and hundreds, and some entire communities turned Sabbatian. In order to defeat this threat, the rabbinical authorities declared a war against the Sabbatians or the Sabbatians, using whatever they could, including their strongest weapon, excommunication. The main character behind the great excommunication in Lvov was Rabbi Jacob Emden, who condemned and hated the Sabbatians and the likes the most. Yaavich, whose 3 daughters were married to important rabbis who served in the Council of 4 Lands, which is the highest leadership of the Jewry of Poland, convinced his sons-in-laws to excommunicate a large group of 2,000 Jews whom he claimed were Frankists, though he did not know them, never met with them, and could not be certain that they were indeed members of the sect. The band declared that we will not rent a house to or from them. We shall not buy from them or sell to them. We should not teach their children, nor bury them, nor circumcise them. In those days, excommunicated Jews were like fish outside the water, doomed to a slow, agonizing death. Fearing starvation and freezing, the 2,000 Jews turned to the church seeking for help. The church agreed to give them a warm welcome if they declare that the Talmud is full of lies and nonsense, and that the blood libels were true, and finally that they convert to Christianity. So the concept of the Typhonian tunnel of Set, it originates from the writings and teachings of Kenneth Grant, a prominent figure, hold on. Concept of the Typhonian tunnel of Set originates from the writings and teachings of Kenneth Grant, a prominent figure in modern occultism and the founder of the Typhonian order. His work is deeply rooted in the Thelemic traditions established by Aliester Crowley, but also it incorporates elements of H.P. Lovecraft and various other esoteric sources. So whenever you hear Typhonian, just know that they dealing with sodomy, okay? Straight like that. That's no way around it. They dealing with sodomizing shit, and they're dealing with some type of weird ass sexual practices. All right, these are sex magic cults. They utilize sex magic, and you know, in all of its forms, okay, to create demonic entities. Not no, they ain't trying to bring in cherubims and angels and whatnot. No, they are summoning from the sunken place. They are tapping in to the bottom. You know what I mean? They're tapping into something very dark and very demonic and whatnot, and that's what they're bringing forth, because you can't bring forth life out of feces, okay? I mean, we grown, so I don't think we have to explain what that is, but you bring, that's where death is, that's where the entity, that's where the parasites, that's where all of that, that's what they deal with, okay? All right. So, Typhonian Order and Kenneth Grant was a British occultist who expanded on Crowley's thelemic system, integrating a diverse array of mystical, mythological, and esoteric elements. He founded the Typhonian Order, which emphasizes exploring the darker, more subconscious aspects of the psyche and the universe. The order is named after the Egyptian god Typhon, a figure associated with chaos and destruction, representing the unknown and often feared aspects of existence. Okay, so that's Kenneth. So you see the Church of Satan, right? You got the Church of Satan, your boy Sammy Davis Jr. and whatnot, who was also into Judaism, but you know, he was dabbling, because like I say, when you fucking with the Talmud and other things, and you rocking with some of these sects, it's the same. It's a throughway, it's a gateway. It's gonna bring you right here. It's gonna bring you into all of this weird shit. So they're in Hollywood doing this. This is what some of these executives is into. This is what these people in power is into. This is the parties that they be talking about. This is what you're gonna run into. This is what the fuck you're gonna see in the hills of Hollywood and whatnot. These are some of the figures and whatnot. Okay? These are some of the wicked ass figures that these people have thrusted into popular culture, because Aliester Crowley is a part of popular culture. He's not underground. He's not underground. You feel me? And with these younger movements of, you know, gothic, you know what I mean, emo, you know, all of these gothic movements, Wiccans and all of that, yeah, they all fuck with this dude. So even on the dark web and whatnot, you have rooms specifically on the dark web where they're doing satanic rituals, right? Sex magic, orgies and whatnot. All of this stuff is taking place on the internet. Okay, on the internet, it's gotten so bold that the shit is on Twitter these days. Okay, so this man was called the Beast. This was a wicked man, and Harvey Weinstein, Jeff Epstein, a lot of these quote unquote sadomasochists, they take after him, right? They take after Aliester Crowley. They're cloning, they're copycatting him. That is their big homie. You understand? So that's how a Drake will wind up in a ritual where he had to humiliate himself and walk around with a dog mask and whatnot. That's how you wind up having sex with a dog. That's how you wind up having sex with children. That's how you wind up being compromised, because you fucking with these people and you to help. You feel me? And when they say that they not like us, the reason why, and you know, it's just sad that niggas is not savvy enough. You know what I'm saying? That they didn't even take the Kendrick album cover and flip it and show that he was really talking about Israel, because like I said before, every single shot that he took at Drake, he was taking at them. You just got to be in the know to know that he was shooting at them. Every single shot, everything that he said, this is a true artist. Why commit career suicide and go after these people by name? Why not just go after a target and break that down, and then you'll break them down by breaking down their target. The target was Aubrey Graham. The target was Drake. That's their poster child. Like I said before, that is their Jake Scully. That's their Navi. So in the movie Avatar, if you was able to kill the blue avatar, it was the fake nigga, then everybody who was invested in that avatar, would they not feel it? What they would feel it, because it's like, damn, this was our Agent Smith. This was our infiltrator. He got found out. They washed her. So they hung him up like in Fallujah. You know what I mean? They lynched him and then they hung him high for everybody to see. So that's what's going on with Orbit right now. They hung his ass high so everybody could see the body dangling and whatnot. You understand what's going on? So this is the exposure that the industry is ignoring. This is what Joe Budden can't talk about. This is what DJ Academics will never be able to talk about. This is what all of these fucking podcasts, these Chitlin Circuit podcasts, they'll never be able to go this deep. They'll never be able to peel back these layers and whatnot. They stopped right there on the doorsteps with Kendrick and was like, I don't want to go in the house. It's too scary in there. It's going to be too dark. So they just, they packed him up. They packed Drake up and they didn't go inside of this house of horrors. Because once you would have went into the house of horrors, theoretically, right, that would have been the whatchamacallit, that would have been those 5 songs that he said that he had. They said he had 5 extra songs in case homie want to get out of line. He'll have to whip him with those 5 songs, right? So Tel Aviv, like I said before, is the rest haven for all of the sex offenders. They not like us. Look at the Gaza Strip right next to Tel Aviv on that map. You see the Gaza Strip? You see the ocean right there? That's Tel Aviv. If this was Miami, that would be Ocean. That would be Collins. That would be Washington. All of them live on top of each other. What the fuck is going on in God's holy land? Ain't this supposed to be Jerusalem? Ain't this supposed to be a holy land? Ain't this supposed to be where the original chosen people are? Astaghfirullah. You lied. You lied about that. You lied about this. You lied about that. This is the synagogue of Satan. That's where they live in. Right next to these Muslims. This is the synagogue of Satan. Undeniably. This is not God's plan, nigga. Okay? So there's tons and tons and tons of articles about the sex offenders in Israel. I got tired of goddamn looking at the articles, but here's a few. Okay? Here's a few. Here's a few. It's not a secret. This is an open secret. But nobody want to talk about it. That's why I be like, man, y'all can miss me with those. Leave me out of these conversations, because these niggas ain't even matching what we was on 125th Street talking about 10 years ago. They not even matching that. Y'all, motherfuckers get excited like, oh God, they going. People be, no, they're not. They're not even matching that level of research. So, get you more familiar with the Typhonian tunnel of Set, right? It's a concept within Grant's work that deals with the idea of what? Of exploring hidden or forbidden aspects of reality and consciousness. Here are the key aspects. Mythological context, because remember, this is about narrative. So this has different contextual applications and whatnot. Remember, it's about ideas and concepts in life and narrative. So they deal with it from different aspects. Okay, just different aspects: mythological, occult, and the esoteric, real life. So in the mythological context, Set is a god of chaos, storms, and a desert. He's often portrayed as a trickster or an antagonist. So like I said earlier, in Dubai, right, these sheiks and whatnot, they have a wicked fetish for defecating on people and whatnot. In the desert of Saudi Arabia is a lot of wickedness going on. It was said that because they have suppressed the divine feminine, that's why it turned from a rainforest into a desert. When they crushed Cleopatra, and they began to blanket, right? When Rome crushed Egypt and they began to suppress the divine feminine inside of Egypt, and they started to kick off that whole thing of turning it into a desert. And then Lord God, when them Arabs came in, when them goddamn Arabs came in and they put a fucking boot on the neck of the divine feminine and whatnot, they created a desert, right? The minute that shit gets fixed, all of that desert is gonna go away. You see that it's raining in the desert, right? The rain is coming back to the desert, right? So something obviously is changing to turn that desert around. But in the desert, they fuck with Set. They fuck with Set, hard body. Maybe not on the surface, but there's some type of Setian energy that these people are encapsulated and quote unquote engrossed in, right? So he's an antagonist, he's a trickster, he's also linked to the necessary destruction that precedes creation and renewal. Typhon in Greek mythology is a monstrous serpentine giant and a representation of chaos. Number 2, the occult context or the esoteric significance. The tunnels and the Kliphof. I'll be pronouncing that wrong. The AA talks about this, and Panic talks about it as well. This is the dark side of the tree of life. All right, the Kliphof. Does somebody have a better pronunciation in the building? Because I know I might be chopping that up. But this is what, when you hear of Darth Vader, right? And AA breaks down the temple of Darth and the Darth side of the tree of life, the dark side, Darth, like, so Darth Vader, okay? So the tunnels are often related to the Kliphof, the husks or shells in Kabbalistic tradition that represent the inverse or the dark side of the Sephiroth on the tree of life. These tunnels are pathways through these dark realms, offering transformative experiences, the exploration of consciousness. The tunnels symbolize a journey through the unconscious mind, confronting what? Hidden fears, suppressed desires, and the darker aspects of one's psyche. It's a path of self-discovery and empowerment through facing and integrating these shadow aspects. So keep in mind, they're dealing with shadow aspects. We're talking Hollywood, we're talking show business, we're talking the quote-unquote entertainment industry. So you have these artists or these talents that you seduce, the executives, the Jewish executives, the people inside of Hollywood. They have these actors say, we want you to tap into your dark side. We want you to help you to tap into your shadow. We want you to be able to fall in your character, to become your character. We want you to be able to quote unquote be in alignment with this character. You know, we want you to be a method actor. So they entice a lot of people into exploring parts of themselves that they might never had explored in the hood where they come from, or whatever small town cities. So they get around in this Hollywood reality. So, you know, they doing yoga and they're jogging, they're eating good, they're at Whole Foods. And then that's like a quote unquote, that's a pathway, right? That would be a pathway to get them into this type of relaxation. So they're like, you know, we're gonna do an orgy, and you know, we're gonna do a little bit of swinging and whatnot. It's okay, don't judge us. We're gonna share each other's wives. We're gonna take some ketamine. You know, we're gonna take some horse tranquilizers. You know, we're gonna get on some hard drugs. You know, we're gonna explore the darker sides of ourselves. You guys want to join us, right? And then you'll get a fucking goof to be like, yeah, I'll go, guys. I'll do it. You know what I mean? Similar to when you do the research on Helter Skelter and Marilyn Manson and what they were doing in the Hollywood Hills. So this whole sex cult thing, and then when you hear about the freak-offs with Diddy, and then when you hear about the Jewish people that were involved in some of the freak-offs, the all-white parties and whatnot, and you hear about Clive Davis being involved, and you hear about Lucian and all of them, and then you hear about Epstein's Island, and they flying out and they having these weekend rituals and whatnot. This is some of the foundation as to what's going on, rather than a whole bunch of people just trying to hump on each other. No, they're doing rituals,